Hey y'all! So I started off with making a mistake, but my video today is going to be about finding and using the discriminant. I just uploaded a worksheet on this online, so I'm going to go through the first problem, which is -2 n squared minus 8n minus 8 equals 0. And you might see it two different ways. You might also see an equation where it has y equals -2n squared minus 8n minus 8. Either way is the same. Una manera u otra es igualito. The first thing we want to do is find A, B, and C. And you might say, but Ms. Utes, I don't see an A, B, or C. I just see an N. Not exactly what we're looking for right now. Vamos a encontrar la A, B y C. So, my A is my coefficient in front of my term that is squared. So coefficient just means a number in front of a variable, and that will be in front of whatever my variable is that is squared, okay? Then my B is my coefficient, or my number, in front of my variable that's not squared. And then my C is my number that's by itself. So let's look at this equation. Ooh, that is not what I meant to do. Let's look at this equation. I have my A in front of my n squared is -2. I have my B is equal to -8. And I have my C is also equal to -8. Make sure you include the signs, okay? So now, and I zoomed again. Nope, not what I meant to do. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, so now my formula that I use for my discriminant always is B squared minus 4AC. And we are just, it's always going to be 4. And we are just going to plug in my A, B, and my C. So for my B, I'm going to put -8 squared minus 4. My A is -2. And my C is -8. So first of all, -8 squared, that's the same as -8 times -8. Negative times a negative, so that's going to be positive 64. Okay. Now, a little up. Now, so we have 64 minus 4. Then we have -2 times -8. So again, that'll be negative times a positive. That'll be positive. And before we subtract, I want to do 4 times 16. Remember, multiplication comes before subtraction in PEMDAS. PEMDAS. See, this is why it's better to be in class, because y'all can ask questions. Okay, so multiplication comes before subtraction, so we're going to multiply first. 4 times 16, well, that's 64 too. So now we have 64 minus 64, and that just gives us 0. So our discriminant is 0. All right, but what does that mean? That's the next part. What does that even mean? All right, with our discriminant, we have 3 options. But first, I want to tell you a little bit of the why. So with the quadratic formula, I have -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And this gives us all of our x-intercepts of a parabola, a quadratic function. So basically what that tells us is where my function crosses the x-axis, cross it once, does it cross it in the negative quadrant, is it crossing it over here? it tells us where that actually happens. But if you look, don't want to zoom, if you look, there's something that looks pretty familiar right here. And that's my discriminant. So when my discriminant is positive, I can take the square root. Everything works out fine. I have negative b plus that positive number and minus that positive number. And so then we cross once and twice. We get two different numbers. We cross twice. Okay? If it is negative, we can't take the square root of a negative number. So then nothing works, and we don't cross it ever, which would be a situation where it's all the way up here, all the way down here. Okay? If it is 0, the square root of 0 is just 0. And so then we're adding 0, and we're subtracting 0, and we're just going to get the same number twice. And so that means we only have one x-intercept. We come down and we touch it. We go back up, only one x-intercept. So let me recap on that. Nope. Let me recap on that. Okay. With our discriminant, pretty handwriting there. With our discriminant, if it is positive, we cross the x-axis twice. Okay, two real solutions. You could put two x-intercepts. If it is 0, we only have one x-intercept, which just means we come down and we touch that axis once. And then if it's negative, right, we have no x-intercepts, which means that it's either always above or always below the x-axis. So our function all the way up here, we have the discriminant is 0. So here we would just put 1 x-intercept. Okay? So again, we found our A, B, and C. We plugged them into the, we found our A, B, and C. We plugged them into the formula. We got, darn it, we got the value, again, we got the value of our discriminant, and then we went ahead and said, okay, that's the value of our discriminant, so we have only one x-intercept. And my apologies for the messiness, but again, this goes to the worksheet. I am going to lose my mind. Why does that keep happening? I think it's because I stretch it. This goes to the worksheet discriminant review. Cool. Actually, I'm going to go to type. Discriminant review. And I don't know if y'all just heard my stomach growl. I'm hungry. Okay. This goes to that worksheet. Okay. So that is again on my website, and my website is bit.ly/Ms. Utes classes and case sensitive. Okay. And you can find all of the worksheets there under the extra tab. Alrighty. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week, and I'm going to be posting more worksheets soon.